More than 7 years ago, I bought my first e-bike, and I've been thrilled by experiences that enable automobile-free commuting and outside fun. For the past month, I've been riding an e-bike from a brand that is new to me, and also, it's my first dual motor bike. It's been great for riding on trails and the road, available now in the US for just over $2,000. Hello everybody, this is Matthew Miller, also known online as Palm Solo, and welcome to the Mobile with Matt channel. We have another e-bike here to take a walk through, and we're going to start off with a little bit of an unboxing experience. And as you can see, it comes in a large box, and it took me about 30 minutes to fully assemble. There were some directions because this bike was a little bit more involved than some other bikes. I had to put together the stem piece and the handlebars, put the front display on the handlebars, position the front headlight, and some other things. One of the biggest things to do on this bike is to follow the directions and position the bike on its back, and then put the front wheel with the hub motor in the right location, and then route that cable to that front wheel and the hub, because that is important to get the power to that front hub. And then the final step was, of course, most of the time, is to put on the pedals, charge the battery, and slide the battery into place. Lankeleisi sent along its MG740 Plus in gray in order for me to test out. They had originally asked me to review another bike. It wasn't available in stock, so we decided to take this one for a spin. This bike was originally launched in 2023, and it's the first dual motor e-bike that I've ever tested. There are some compelling features of this bike, and if you're looking for a fat tire bike, it may be just what you're looking for. The fat tires like this are pretty bulky, and so when I was surprised when I opened up the box and I lifted the bike out to start my setup, the bike weighs in at 75 pounds, which actually, 75 pounds, it's heavy, but because of the size and the bulk and the wheels and tires, it feels, and it is, about 5 to 10 pounds lighter than I am used to for a fat tire bike, especially one with dual motors on it. So let's start off with some key specifications. In typical fashion, this is a 6061 aluminum frame that we see on most bikes nowadays. There are actually two hub motors on both the front and the rear wheel. These are 1,000 watt hub motors on both of those wheels. Has a large capacity 48 volt 20 amp hour Samsung battery, and as you can see, that's mounted right on the top of the frame there. There is a key and a lock to lock that into place. It fully charges in about 5 to 6 hours, and those dual motors provide 95 newton meters of torque to help you get up the hills. This is a big bike with a big heavy frame, and it does have a 400-pound capacity, so it should be good for just about every rider. As I mentioned earlier, it is a 75-pound bike, which isn't that bad for the size and bulk of the bike itself. The front fork has the adjustable 100 millimeter travel suspension system there, so that's nice on those trails. And that dial can adjust on both sides. It has a right side throttle. Lankeleisi states that it can provide about 40 miles on the throttle only, and about 74 to 93 miles with pedal assist. That's the advertised range, and I'll talk about my experiences with the range of the battery here in a little bit. It has a top speed 28 to 32 miles per hour. In my experience, I was able to hit 28, 29 miles per hour, but I wasn't able to hit that 32. It does have, as I mentioned, the 26-inch by 4-inch fat tires. There's a large central color LCD display that has IP64 dust and water resistance, so you should be able to use this in most conditions. That display shows you the battery status, the odometer, the speed, assist level, and the rest of the bike has IP54 waterproof rating as well. It does have a Shimano 7-speed gear system, and it has Shimano Altus. There are hydraulic brakes. It's typical on bikes today, and they're actually kind of attractive. In the pictures you can see they have red brake mechanisms there. A very comfortable saddle with some springs on the back. It's a little bit wide and big, but it's nice for going out on those trails and riding. It's not something you're going to ride long extended distances without assist, but you can't do that with this bike anyway. And the whole package includes mud guards, as you can see I have mounted here, a lock, a very good tool set, and a very basic pump. Now as we move over to the controller and talk about the controller a little bit, It's a 5-way directional looking controller. So there's a center power button. There's a left button that has an eye on it that is for information, and that's as you look through the different things, you can see the different information and modes on the bike as far as trip miles, odometer, all of that kind of thing. The right side is the headlight button, so you push that once to turn on the headlight and once again to turn off. And then the top and bottom is plus and minus, and that's for, of course, going higher or lower on the pedal assist or the throttle. And the bottom one, if you press and hold it, it will go into walk mode to help you walk the bike around. And then down below the whole directional pad is a very loud horn button. You can hear there. So there are 5 levels of pedal assist. If it's 0, it's off. 1 is called eco mode, and this is all appears on the display. If you go to 2 or 3, those are both shown as normal mode, and then 4 and 5 are shown as sports mode. So now let's get into a few of my riding experiences. And I like to start off with the hill test. You know, you riding up into my hill is 13 to 15% incline. And then when I went to a trail the other day, that one also had a 13 to 14% incline, so I was able to test that hill as well. And with this dual motor bike, I was able to make it up with throttle use only without having to pedal, and that was 8 to 10 miles per hour, and that's pretty good with a hill that has that kind of incline on it. Now, pedal use, of course, helped considerably, so if I dropped it to the lowest gear on the Shimano system and then pedaled, I was able to bump that up to about 12 miles per hour, but it's great that the throttle is able to get me there. And I also love that the throttle helped me get over tree roots and other obstacles while I was out on the trails, so I wasn't stuck. You know, on a bigger bike like this, you sometimes can get stuck in tight areas, so that throttle just gives you that little bit extra to get you up and over. Now, I also did a flat distance test with pedal assist, and that's the mode that I ride most of the time when I'm riding this bike. And on this bike, as I mentioned, it has 0 through 5. When I was in level 2 and 3, which I stayed in most of the time, that was perfect for me. And even at 3, with very easy pedaling, I was up to 20 miles per hour. 4 and 5 really scream on this bike, and for the areas that I've been riding, I didn't need to use it that much. So I spent most of my time in levels 2 and 3. 4 and 5 is great when you need it, and if you want to get somewhere fast, you can certainly bump that up. The bike is very fast, so hold on. The battery lasts for a little bit longer than I expected. Now, as I mentioned, Lankeleisi states 74 to 93 miles range with pedal assist. This probably a test is typical with level 1 and a lighter person. In my experiences, I measured about 60 miles with pedal assist at that level 2 and 3 level, and that's really good for a bike this big, and the battery that you can see is sitting right there. Single battery as well. So that's great for the pedal assist flat mode. Now this one also has a throttle. It's like a motorcycle, so it has that right side twist throttle, and it's quite powerful. It's great for getting off the line, and it does work from a still position. You don't have to pedal first to kick that throttle in. And one thing about this bike, the pedal assist level that you set on the plus and minus does impact power of the throttle. So in throttle mode, you know, you can ride that for hours on a gravel road, but in level 1, seeing about 12.5 to 13 miles per hour. If I bump that to level 2, I got about 17 miles per hour. Level 3 was about 20 miles per hour. Level 4, 24 miles per hour, and level 5, 28 miles per hour. So I do like on the throttle bikes when you can use the assist level to determine your top speed. Many of the bikes, it's throttle 0 to 20 miles per hour, and it's just controlled just by the throttle. I do like controlling it with the button because it's kind of hard and touchy sometimes to use the throttle to maintain that speed. I mentioned this in my other videos, and I do like to test this because if I'm out and about somewhere and the battery fully dies, can I get home? So I was able to ride this bike forward at 8 miles an hour, maybe 10 miles per hour with no assist, but it was really hard. It was a lot of work, and I did that for a short period of time. I really would not want to ride this bike probably for more than a mile with no battery. It's heavy. It requires a lot of effort to move these big fat tires across the pavement. Just try to not run out of battery power, and with the long range that it has, you probably won't have to worry about that too much. The Lankeleisi MG740 Plus is the first dual motor bike I've tested, and I was honestly expecting a bit more power going up the hills. Now, it did very well, and it was able to go up with a throttle. I thought it would fly with those dual motors. They don't provide as much oomph as I had expected with 1,000 watts of hub motor each. My Velotrix Summit 1 actually propels me a little bit faster up those steep hills, but the MG740 Plus does get me there. The low pressure fat tires provide a very comfortable ride, and that suspension up front is also great for trails and gravel roads and things like that. As I mentioned, it was a little bit lighter than I expected, and I had no problem unloading it and loading it in the back of my truck to go down to some trails for some trail access. I also like to mention areas for improvement. This bike is perfect for riding on gravel roads and wide trails, but it can be a little bit challenging on single track. I took it up to a local park, and it's a bit big and bulky, so the weight and size aren't really for MTB experiences. It's more for gravel, wide trail riding. There's also no brake light. Now, that's not that important for a bike that's going to be a recreational bike, but it is nice to have a brake light or a rear tail light, just to let people know that you're in front of them, that you're stopping, or that make sure there's some awareness there. And if you're going to use this for commuting, you really should have some kind of a light or a rear reflector on the back of that. The Lankeleisi MG740 Plus is available now for $2,099, and it's available in this gray color that has mostly black with a little bit of gray here and there. The blue one that is available actually has blue wheels, so that really lights things up. Now, when you go to the website, the current offer on the website throws in $327 in accessories. That was not included with my test unit, so I did not test those, but that $327 in accessories includes a helmet, gloves, glasses, or a rear rack bag, so that's some pretty nice things that are included with that. And one thing that's a bit unusual is Lankeleisi does offer a 3-year warranty, which is more than we've seen on other bikes in the past. So this is a big, rather heavy bike that's designed for people with a height of 5'6" to 6'4". I'm 6'1", and there was plenty of height left in the seat. I actually had to lower it a little bit because I went up to see what the max was. So there's plenty of height there for taller riders. It is, if you're a shorter rider, just be careful. There's step through is a little bit lower here, but so you can't get over it. But it is a big, heavy bike with those big fat tires. The frame is also a bit shorter than some other bikes that I've seen in the past. It's very similar to the electric X-Peak in the frame of that. The good thing is my feet, and as I was pedaling, never hit the front mud guard. I've been testing an MTB from Velotrix, and this is a bit too large for me to ride on MTB single track trails, and I really don't want to jump too much with this bike, as it is good for trails in the woods, gravel roads, and riding on pavement in comfort. Thank you everybody for watching. Please subscribe and share, interact with me here, and stay tuned for more coverage of e-bikes, wearables, and other mobile technology. May the mobile force be with you.